Manhattan Chamber Chair Cory Johnson, a lot of other tenants from this building, and tenant leaders from Chelsea. We have Sam, the tenant lawyer, leader of our city, Sam Himmelst. So thank you very much for having me here. And from Sam's firm, which I will try to get the name of close to correct, Himmelstein, McConnell, Ribbons. Thank you, Donahue and Joseph. I should have guessed. The lawyer for the Chelsea Hotel Tenants Association, Janet Paulson. We'll be hearing from these individuals later, as well as obviously lots of tenants from the Chelsea Hotel. Since its inception, the Chelsea Hotel has been making history. But we're here today, unfortunately, not to celebrate the legacy of artists, musicians, creative spirits, Chelsea residents, tenants who passed through these doors and lived in this building. We're here today, unfortunately, to address how far the Chelsea Hotel has fallen. The Chelsea Hotel, once symbolic of all the West Side and Chelsea had to offer, is in disarray. These pictures show mold covers its walls. Asbestos literally lurks in the air shaft. Rust is deteriorating cabinets and sinks and appliances. And yet, the landlord of one of Chelsea's most iconic and important buildings has done less than nothing to improve these conditions. In fact, turning a blind eye and a deaf ear to them, which only makes them worse, and the conditions of the tenants and their lives worse and worse. For months, if not years, tenants have tried valiantly with no success to get Joseph Chetrit to do not just what is right, but what, as an owner, he is legally required, obligated to do. What is that? To put an end to dangerous and unsafe living conditions in the Chelsea Hotel, to live up to his legal obligation as a landlord. When tenants' repeated calls for repairs fell on deaf ears, the Chelsea Hotel Tenants Association did the right thing. They took action, and they filed a lawsuit to demand that the landlord take responsibility for the health and safety of his tenants. Those tenants who for decades have proudly called the Chelsea Hotel and the Chelsea Community Home, commissioned an environmental inspection and a testing report. That report doesn't just detail where asbestos and mold are located. The report responsibly lays out a plan for safe removal, a plan for bringing the Chelsea Hotel back to a livable, safe, and legally required state.
Yeah, thank you.
But in response, what has the landlord done? What has happened? Nothing. We're here today, Community Board 4, Senator Duane, Assemblymember Godfrey, the entire Chelsea community, to take action in support of the Chelsea Hotel tenants. Negotiations began with Joseph Chetrit and the Chelsea Hotel Tenants Association. We were hopeful for a brief period of time. Unfortunately, tragically, those negotiations have fallen apart. Why? Because the landlord refuses to follow the recommendations of this report. Tomorrow, the Chelsea Tenant Association will be in court once again to fight for their safety and for their legal rights. And I want to be clear, we are all here today in solidarity with the tenants in the action that they will be taking in court. We know that the court will rule on exactly what the cleanup needs to be. We know that the court will rule that the tenants have been wrong and this great building needs to be made livable again. So we're also here today to send a message to Joseph Chetrit that when that ruling and plan is sent out by the court, we will continue to stand with these tenants. We will watch the work that you do under a microscopic lens. And if you fail to follow what is required, have the Department of Health, the Department of Housing Preservation and Development, and any and every other city and state agency that has jurisdiction in this building. We will simply not let our neighbors be treated this way. We will not allow this building to be lost as a part of Chelsea's history, but most importantly, we won't let these homes be lost as affordable housing in our great neighborhood.
Yeah, yeah. We have a right to live too.
Zoe and all of the tenants in the Tenants Association, no one could have blamed you if you just packed up and left. But you love your homes, you love Chelsea, and you're going to stay put and fight for what is right, and we thank you and support you in that effort. Let me next call on someone who has long worked with the tenants here, but really all of the tenants in Chelsea on the west side, making our neighborhood one that believes in and supports our tenant neighbors, State Senator Tom Duane.
Yeah, Tom.
Thank you very much.
Oh, absolutely.
High praise from one of the most outstanding tennis leaders our city has ever known. Every tenant in New York City, every citizen in New York City is entitled to a habitable home. And a habitable home means no mold and no asbestos and no rust dripping off of every water faucet in the place. I don't know what this landlord thinks, because mold and asbestos does not disappear on its own, and this new landlord must take immediate responsibility to remediate the conditions that make the Chelsea Hotel a place that is not as habitable as it must be for all of the tenants who live here. We are a community, we're a neighborhood that sticks together. We're in solidarity with the tenants here in the Chelsea Hotel. They, the people in the Chelsea Hotel, are as valuable to us as is this beautiful building. You know what? We are going to fight until this building is safe and secure for every tenant and anyone who comes to live here in the future. Thank you.
Woo! Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Tom.
Let me next call on someone else who has been standing incredibly strongly with the tenants here and tenants throughout our neighborhood, Assemblymember Dick Guy.
This is what happens when an owner puts its right to make a lot of money over the right of tenants to live peacefully in their homes.
Yes, thank you.
Tenants have got to be protected against asbestos and mold and disruption and hazards to their life and health and safety. And unfortunately, Chetrit, as an owner and developer, has a pretty shoddy reputation with tenants and communities for their record of how they do or do not protect their properties and the people who live in their properties and the people who pass by their properties in the community. We're not going to stand for it. The residents of the Chelsea Hotel are not going to stand for it. And we're going to put a stop to the kind of shoddy work and disregard of life, health, and safety that this developer is showing.
Woo! Yeah.
We next call on somebody who I know we are all incredibly grateful to for all of the work she's done and all the fortitude that she's shown the Chelsea Hotel Tenants Association President, Zoe Pappas.
Yeah! Yeah!
but I decided to do it in a legal way. Our lawyers at Himmelst and Gerald Carlson, who have become part of this Chelsea family. What we've been doing all these months was within legality, within we stuck to the facts, and we show a very civilized and understanding behavior. Therefore, at this very moment, as you already know, we are deciding to try to do it. But for some other people are going to talk and explain to the whole what has been going on, I'm going to make an announcement. Because of the extraordinary dedication of our politicians, community board for, and people who believe in something, and that something is that humanity which keeps all of us together. A friend of mine from Dunnington, Bartholomew Miller, created for this association a charitable trust for historic preservation. We are deciding to work with our politicians, with all the communities, with all the buildings which are landmarks, and also with all the tenants who think that they don't have recourse. So we are going to hear about that in detail, but I want to thank again everybody who has been so helpful to us and basically influence us in the best way to be creative and to bring people who believe in preserving architecture, culture, legacies, art, and I think that I mentioned all of it. So thank you very much, and I hope that we'll see each other many times and we'll find a lot of fun. Thank you.
The elected officials and the people in our office in particular. I want to thank every single year for taking time in my office. I know it's done tremendous work. Then the next one, Lieutenant Paulson, is the lawyer for the
Thank you. My name is Janet Carlson, and myself and Sam Himmelst represent the Chelsea Tenants Association. In August of 2011, Mr. Tree bought the Chelsea, and shortly thereafter began a massive demolition project which spread dust contaminated with lead, silica, and other hazardous material throughout the building, jeopardizing the tenants' health and safety. Pipes burst in several parts of the building, spewing mold throughout. After many attempts to negotiate with the landlord yielded no fruit, the Chelsea Tenants Association began a lawsuit against the landlords in December 2011, seeking an order to correct the hazardous conditions of the building. After the Department of Environmental Protection issued a slew of violations for illegal asbestos removal, and the landlords refused to turn over documents pertaining to this, the tenants began a second lawsuit against the landlords in February 2012. 4 months, the tenants negotiated in good faith with the landlords, attempting to enter into an agreement with them to correct the hazardous conditions of the Chelsea Hotel. The tenants agreed